Hello? I'm going to do my checks and I'll be with you in a moment. Give me 1 minute. We got to make sure that everything is working properly. Hello? I'm going to do my checks. Oh, we got everything is working properly. Excellent. That's the way it's supposed to be. This is Knowledge from Beyond. My name is Len Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm here on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays. And on Tuesdays, on my Facebook page, we talk a little bit about everything, conspiracy theories, whatever. But on Wednesday, on the Spirit Room Network, we are here to talk about the metaphysical. And we get very deep sometimes. We try not to get too deep all the time, but sometimes we just get a little carried away. But today we have a very good subject. Hopefully this won't be too deep. But this is something that a lot of people have never heard about. This is knowing, and understanding the power of no, and how to use the power of no. Most people have never even heard of the power of no. And we're going to talk about that because there's a reason you haven't heard from it. But the power of no has been around for a very long time. And what the purpose we're talking about this is because this is one of the great downfalls of mankind, of you. You know, we are all spiritual creatures trying to, we're here living this physical existence. We come to this world, as I told you. We are a speck of living energy. We left the left-hand side of God. Our goal is to go through every form of life, every type of creation, and return to God as a splitting image of Him. Now, when we enter this world as a baby, we was upstairs. We're not in heaven. We're upstairs in the land of light. When it's our time, we go into the tunnel, and we end up in our mother's tummy. And when we're born, everything is so clear. You can ask any kid, 3 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a nurse. I want to make the world a better place. I want to be this. I want to be that. No one says I want to be a drug dealer. I want to be an alcoholic. I want to be a bum. Everybody wants to do positive things. To everyone, it's so damn clear what they came here to do. They want to be an architect. They want to help people. They want to be a doctor. They want to be a nurse. Everybody wants to do good. Then we get into those teenage years, 13, 14, 15, and we get into the craziness. We get into where things start we start seeing that glitter. We meet girls. We meet our guy friends and our girlfriends, and we start hanging out, and we start trying to be cool, and we try to be this, and we try to be hip, and we want the girls to like us, and and after a while, you ask teenagers what they want to be. Now they want to be football players, basketball players. Now they want to be rich. Now they want to be this and that. Now they want to be a stockbroker. Now, what happened to all those things they wanted to be when they was a kid? They lost it. They went astray. And by the time they get out of high school, going towards college, getting married and everything, their whole life is consumed by materialism. Keeping up with the Joneses, dressing like their most popular sports star, trying to imitate their people on TV. That becomes the purpose of their life. The game of keeping up with the Joneses. Buddha warned us about materialism, the then Buddha. 3,000 years ago. He was warning people about the dangers of materialism. I don't know what materialism they had 3,000 years ago. But he was warning people about that, the dangers of materialism. And if they had problems back then, we got problems today. Because as I told you several times, Socrates says, this was said 2,500 years ago, that once a person's basic needs are met, food, shelter, and clothing, that a person's mind will start to evolve about why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green? What's on the other side of that mountain? And their mind will start to expand. Our minds never expand. We can't get past the next Super Bowl. We can't get past the next iPhone. We can't get past the next stock trade. We can't even get past the next party, right? We're so busy talking about who's coming to town, who's doing this, who died, who's this. You know, we're so wrapped up into the BS of life. Our whole life is about, what's a good word to say? But the problem we have is at the end of our life, we have a problem. Why do we have a problem at the end of our life? Because God only gave us one thing. He didn't give us cars. He didn't give us, nothing. He only gave us life. And at the end of our life, we have to answer for our life. It doesn't make any difference if you live 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 80 years, 90 years. You have to answer for your life. And we all come into this world naked. And we all leave the same way. And on that day, he asked you, what did you do? I gave you 57 years of life. What did you do with your life? You want to talk about how many kids you had, what your credit score was, how many square foot your house was. You know what I'm saying? How many friends you had. How many Dallas Cowboy games you went to in your lifetime. He really interested in that one. Now, that one is what he really wants to know. Okay, you get what I'm saying, don't you? He doesn't give up. He only wants to know one thing. Actually, three things. He wants to know about mental progression, spiritual progression, and emotional progression. Because your job is to work your way back to him. As long as you're moving forward, you are progressing. As long as if you're not moving, that's called stagnation. If you're moving backwards, that's called damnation. Why do we have so hard of a time? Because we are not instructed. Today, life is like a cell phone. We have cell phones today that's more powerful than computers that launch people to the moon, if you believe we went to the moon, a few, decades ago, back in the 60s. It doesn't come with instructions. You have to figure all this stuff out on your own. You're downloading all these apps. They don't come with instructions either. You have to figure everything out on your own. And it's very frustrating. The kids have an easy time, but us dinosaurs, we have a very hard time. But we forgot one of the basic lessons that we should have learned when we was a little kid. And this is what we're talking about today. The power of no. And why are we talking about no? Because that simple word in English, Spanish, if you think there's thousands of different languages, but no is almost the same in dozens and dozens of languages. There's variations of the word no, but it's always very close. No is no all over the world. But we don't know how to say no. And when our friends are doing things we shouldn't be doing, we can't say no because our friends might get upset. And when your boyfriend or your girlfriend wants you to do things that you know you shouldn't be doing, you would say no, but they might get mad. They might break up with you. So you can't say no. You know you need to spend more time with your kids. But it's all those activities that your friends and things got going for you, and you can't say no to your friends. So you ignore your family and your kids because you can't say no. How come we can't say no? It's so easy. And by saying no, and it's not too late, what we all need to do starting today is practice every day, just like we're supposed to do our exercises in the morning. We need to every day stand in the mirror and practice saying no. And the 3 variations of no. There's no, there's hell no, and there's F no. You get what I'm saying, don't you? Okay. Those are the 3 variations of no. Because anything other than no, you're going to start bending. Well, let me think about it. Let me see what happens. Let me talk to my husband first. Okay. Once you start bending, you're going to be in very, very, very big trouble. As long as you go straight, as long as people want you to drink, and you know you shouldn't be drinking because you got a long drive at home and you're very tired, and you know you have had 1 or 2 too many already, and they say, come on, just have 1 or 2 more. And you got to be able, you got to be strong. You got to stand in the mirror and practice saying no. And at first it's hard. But as you practice saying no, it gets easier. And one thing happens when you start saying no to people. You start feeling good inside. Because a lot of times your friends pull you down. They get you to do things and you know you're wrong for doing what you did. And you walk around with your head down. We have to worry about ourselves. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we try to put everybody before us. But sometimes we have to take care of ourselves. And this is what I talked about the other week when we was talking about everyone have a guardian angel. And, and our guardian angels is there to protect us and help us and all this stuff. But your guardian angel can't protect you from you. Because you have something called free will. And this is why your guardian angel, in so many instances, is useless. Because he can whisper in your ear all day long. And it does, and you know what you're doing is not right. You know that you're not taking the proper path. You know you're not advancing. You know you're skimping corners and doing this and that. But you can't do nothing about it because you don't have the willpower. You don't have the strength and courage to stand up to people. And sometimes it's very hard to stand up to your friends, to stand up to your husband or your wife when they want you to do things or they try to bend you. And you say, no, I'm not doing that. No. I'm not going. No. Y'all can go out tonight, but I need to stay home with my kids. And at first, it is really, really hard. But after a while, you start feeling good about yourself. It improves your ego. It makes you feel good inside that you are willing to stand up for you. And this is what we all need to do. It seems so simple, but it's so hard. Because if we don't stand up for ourselves, who's going to stand up for us? And we're supposed to be the adult in the room. Our children look up to us. And as you look back on your parents, you knew that your parents was doing a lot of things that wasn't right. But you as a kid, you couldn't say nothing. Is your kids looking at you and shaking their heads? You have to be the proper example. You have to go straight. We all are human. We all make mistakes. I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. I have made a lot. But what I try to do, I try to learn from my mistakes. And this is what I talk about we all need to do. When you make a major mistake is like an airplane crash. When the plane goes down and crashes in the desert and you lose that job or you lost that relationship or whatever you lost that you prized so dearly and you lost it, you need to send in the investigators. And you say, that relationship that I cherished and cared about so much, it just fell apart. What went wrong? And you need to analyze and look at it. And you say, maybe, I did this wrong and that person did for this wrong. And you need to look at what was wrong and right. And you need to learn from what happened. So you don't make the same mistake twice. To err is human. But we need to learn from our mistakes. And some of us been erring for a very, very, very long time. And we know we're in error. And you tell people, oh, I know I got a drinking problem. I know I got a drug problem. I know I got this. I know. But they're still doing it. And if you know you're in error, why are you still in error? How come you're not trying to straighten up? This is what progression is all about. Because as we talked about before, if we're going to try to, we're heading, we are evolving. As we talked about a few weeks ago, we're supposed to be going from that third dimension to that fourth dimension to that fifth dimension. We're supposed to be advancing to where when it's our time, we can cross from the physical plane to the spiritual plane. We are moving forward. We should be. But we need help. And during some of the hardest times in your life is when you find out who you can and cannot depend on. Because when you're sick and when you're having financial problems and when your relationship falls apart, that's when you find out who's your real friends and who you're not and who's not your friends. Because a lot of times when you're sick or when you're having financial stress or when you are depressed or down or out, all of your friends run off. And when you crawl back into the light, they say, oh, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. You want to go out? You want to have a good time? But where was they at when you was crawling on the ground, when you was crying? Where was they at? Where was that helping hand? A lot of our best friends are not there for us the way they should be. In fact, a lot of our best friends are like anchors around our necks. That's what they say about the bowl of crabs. one tried to crawl out and the other crabs try to pull it back in. That's what a lot of our friends try to do. When we try to better ourselves, when we try to move forward in life, a lot of our friends won't let us go. They say, you don't need to go over there. You don't need to take that promotion at work. You don't need to do that. You just need to stay here with us. Okay. Don't move forward. Stay with us. You don't need to try to improve yourself, go to night school, to try to, get that, to try to do better. Why? Why you want to do that for? Why do you want friends like that? We all need people in life that's going to be our cheerleaders in life. And when we're trying to get somewhere, we need that cheering squad to cheer for us. Because we know trying to get that touchdown is going to be very, very hard. Trying to get that, degree, or trying to do this, or trying to do those extra things for your kids is extremely hard. And sometimes you're tired and you're sick and you don't want to do it. And you need those cheerleaders out there to push you, to keep you going. That's what we need. A lot of us don't have that. A lot of us, too, need that not only on a physical level. You're supposed to have a cheering squad also on the spiritual level. When you're sick, do you have someone you could pray to? Do you have someone that can send you light, healing energy? Do you have someone that you can depend on? Or is your God just writing a check every month? And as long as you write that check, okay. We need more than just writing a check every month. Because faith is about belief, but it has to be full circle. If you're going to believe in them, then they have to believe in you. That's very dangerous. That's what we all need. That's what we need to do. So the power of no is about taking control of your life and taking control of your situation. And doing what is best for you and doing what is best for your family. Not what is always best for your friends and best for your neighbors and best for this and best for all this other stuff. And you're sacrificing for yourself and everybody else. You have to put yourself out there. Now, why is that so hard to care about yourself? Why is it so hard to care about the people you love? Because the world doesn't want that. They'll even say, why you give money to that homeless guy over there? You shouldn't give him money. I just gave him $1. Yeah, but you shouldn't do that. You know he's going to waste it. See, you did it because it made you feel good. And maybe he is going to use it on alcohol, or maybe he's got, but the problem is you did it from your heart. And you saw somebody that's worse off than you, and you gave them $1. And then people jump your case about you shouldn't do that. I never give them any money. You shouldn't give money either. Why do people do that? This is why mankind is mankind's worst enemy. And it's been this way for a very, very, very long time. Because we hate ourselves. And we hate anybody who we think has more than we do, lighter or darker than we are, have longer hair, this or that, we have a million reasons to hate everybody. But why do we hate so much? Because maybe we hate ourselves. The Beatles said it a long time ago. All we need is love. But love has to start in here. See, today I'm not talking about all this esoteric stuff about craziness and whatever. Today I'm hitting you right between the eyes. I'm giving you something today that you can start working at tomorrow. You can start it right after this show. Oops, I'm dropping my ring on the ground. You can get started right after this show. Because you need to start loving. The Beatles said it a long time ago, all we need is love. But there's no love out there. It's just a lot of hate and jealousy and bigotry. And that's all we give. And when people try to do that to you, you're going to learn the secret word. And what is the secret word? The secret word is no. I'm not doing that. Why you spend so much time with your kids? Why you do so much time? Why you take your kids out and spend money on them? I don't do that. You should spend money on you. No, I love my kids. I'm going to do that. You know what you doing is if it's right or wrong. You have to be strong. You have to go straight. You have to be that tree that stands straight. And if we can start with the power of no, then we can progress into more advanced things. Because there's more advanced things than just saying no. But no has to be the foundation. No, love. Then you get into the more advanced stuff about, the reason this world is in a terrible place is because we destroyed it. Remember, God gave us a paradise earth. It doesn't look like a paradise anymore. And we want somebody to fix it, and we want somebody to pick up that garbage, and we want somebody to do this, and we. But it's not I. But what we all have to do is our 2 cents worth. And no, I can't save the world. One time in my life, I believed I could save the world. And I used to run around like a chicken all day long trying to save everybody. Because the USS Earth was sinking with 6 billion souls, 7 billion souls on board. And I was trying to save as many souls as I could. Because I was given a gift. And I was trying to help everybody. But trying to help everybody, I discovered I couldn't help myself. Because if you're so busy helping everyone else, who is helping you? And for a while, I became lost. Because some bad things happened to me since while I was out busy trying to save the world. And no one was covering my ass when I was out doing my good deeds. And some bad deeds happened to me, and I took it personal. Because I'm human. But, like a kid who falls off his bike, and you have to cry and get over it, but slowly you have to get back on the bike and start riding again. But no, I changed. I can't change the world. I can't save the world. But I can do my part. And by doing my part is one of the reasons why I do this podcast twice a week. I'm doing my part. This is why I try to help people. This is why I try to encourage people. This is why I do the things I do. I can't do it all alone. As George H. Walker Bush said, you gotta be that speck of light. And with thousands of specks of light, millions of specks of light coming together, we can illuminate the world. We can illuminate the future. He took it too far and said, and we can bring in the New World Order. But what some people want to bring in the New World Order. Some people want to bring in a new world period. Because this old world kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's about greed, selfishness, this and that. And some people is tired of this old world. They're tired of the rat race. I don't really care if before I wanted to win. I don't really want to win anymore. I just want my peace. And I just want to try when I die for people to say, I did my part. And when people have been saying bad things about me for so many years, remember, the truth stands straight. You need to stand straight. Because I only have to answer to one person in the end. I don't have to answer to you. I only have to answer to that one person. And when he asked me that magic question, Lynn, I gave you 60 years of life. What did you do with it? I didn't get done the things I wanted to get done. I did not save the world. But I did try to make the world a little better place. I did try to help a few people along the way. And as a joke, I always tell people that I did feed a lot of them damn gatos along the way because I'm a cat lover and I'm always trying to feed those cats. Okay, so maybe that's gonna be my bonus points, feeding those cats. Okay, but I did my part. Now, it's not about me. It's about you. Are you doing your part? You only have to do your 2 cents worth. Are you at 2 cents? It's not 10%, 2%. So every week you should ask yourself, what can I do? What is my 2 cents I'm going to do today? Maybe I'm going to go outside and pick up the garbage, in front of my home. Maybe I'm going to say hi to the neighbors in the morning. Maybe that lady that lost her husband down the street. Maybe I'm going to go and, buy a little pie or something for $2, $3 and give it to her. Okay. It's not breaking the bank. I'm not asking you to take your whole paycheck or this or that, but you got to do something. We all have to do our part. See, everything we're doing every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is being watched. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's the government watching. No, you don't have to worry about the government. Remember, when you die, the book is open. What is the booklet? It's those watchers. Remember, when El left 6,000 years ago, he appointed 600 watchers to watch over the earth. Today is a lot more than 600 watchers. Those watchers are everywhere. They write down everything you do in your entire life is written down. And that's why when you die, the book is open. The Egyptians believed, which is very hard, that everything you did in your life went on one side of the scale. And they put a feather on the other side. And if it was heavier than a feather, you lost. Okay. Your heart or or your, which they said it as your heart because they thought your heart was everything you did. They didn't understand the concept of the brain. See, we think the brain is your center of consciousness. The Egyptians picked out your brain with a giant pick and threw the brain away. They thought the heart was your emotions, your feelings, where everything came from. Your heart had to be lighter than a feather. That's kind of hard today. Okay. Today, we're just trying to you put all your good deeds on one side and you put your bad deeds on the other side, and you try to have a little more good than bad. It may be heavier than a feather, but at least you got to have more good than bad. And you got to be able to point to you and your kids and even people that you met along the way. You got to be able to say, I made them a better, I helped that person, I helped my kids, I did this and that. I was the best person I could be. Because in the end, that's all we have is memories. And even in my short life, I look back on so many people that I used to know, and several of them are dead now. And when you can look back on people you know, and you can look back and you can smile on the good times you and that person had, and when you was there for that person when they was sick, and the things that, and they was there for you, and you were, because in the end, that's all we have is memories. To a lot of people, all they have are nightmares. Because when they look back on people, they see what they did. Okay. I don't have a lot of regrets in my life. I tried a lot of things. I chased a lot of my dreams. A lot of my dreams didn't work out, which I'm kind of disappointed in. But I don't regret chasing my dreams. Because if I didn't chase my dreams, I believe I would be down and out right now, saying I could have did this and I should have did this and I did it and that. So I did it. And it would be nice if I had a podcast and had 2.3 million views, okay? And it would be great when they ranked podcasts, nationwide podcasts, that the Lynn Livesey podcast was ranked number 7 and whatever, okay? That would be wonderful. But the 100 people that are listening to my voice right now, I'm happy that I'm able to share the little things I can. Because to get 2.3 million views, I probably couldn't talk about the things I'm talking about right now. To get 2.3 million views, I probably have to talk about Kardashians and talk about this and that and how to do spells. And I'll talk about a lot of things that I shouldn't be talking about. But I'm doing it because I'm trying to get views. I'm trying to get the audience. I'm trying to do this. That's called selling out, selling your soul. I'm not willing to go there. So maybe my numbers are low because I don't talk about the stuff people want to talk about. I don't talk about how to win the lottery and how you can get any woman you want and how you can do this or that and how you can, look at that girl and she just want to take her clothes off. I don't talk about that. I talk about you and how to improve you and how to make you a better person and how to make society a better place. That's boring. Nobody wants to listen to that. But again, that is what the power of know is. Knowing what is right and wrong. And you're making a decision to do what is right. Are you doing what is right? Or are you selling out? Okay. Just to make a few extra dollars. Just to have a few more friends. Just to, you know what I'm talking about. It's a secret between me and you. But you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have to be true. You can't sell your soul for money. You can't sell your soul for fame. You can't sell your soul. It's your life. You live it to the fullest. And you do what you, at the end of your life, you want to look back on your life and be proud of the life you had. And say, yeah, I didn't climb that mountain like I wanted to. I only made it up that hill, but I'm proud of what I did. Okay. That's what I can say. Hopefully you can say that too. So we're back into advanced things. So we have the power of no. We have the power of love, which we touched at. Let's get deeper in the power of love. Most people think the power of love is the power of sex. That's not the power of love. The power of love is called giving a damn. Do you give a damn? Okay. So many people don't give a damn. This is why things are so screwed up. They only care about the power of love is where if you gotta believe in more than yourself. That's the reason they talk about having pride in your city and having pride in your kids and having pride. And, because this gets into things. Because, more advanced, see, you have to know what you're willing to live for and what you're willing to die for. Because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And you should be willing to live and die for your honor, for your family. You should be willing to die to protect, the ones you love. You should be willing to fight for your kids. You should be willing to stand up for your friends, to stand up for people that's being picked on and bullied. You don't know what the price is going to be, but you got to do your part. You have to do that 2%. This is what makes you a better person. This is what makes you that ego. This is what turns you into a man, into what the Mormons call a God man, what they call a Superman. Because you have to know what is right and wrong. This is what the Bible talks about, where they take the wheat and the shaft and they separate the two. When they do the separation, are you wheat or are you chaff? What is chaff? Are you weeds or are you the wheat? Okay. We'll update that passage. But it's not too late. You can start today. So starting today, you're going to give a damn. Starting today, you're not going to let your girlfriends and boyfriends and your family and all those bad people run your life. You're going to start taking care of number one, which is you and your family and those you care about. And you're not going to let your kids get picked on and bullied and come home crying. You're going to fight for them. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel good. You're not going to win every battle, but you're going to feel good about yourself. And you got to get out of another thing we all have to do, since we're getting into the advanced class. You have to turn off all of that BS bullshit in your life. I was talking to someone the other day about this. How they think everybody's putting a skip bell on them and how everybody this and everybody's jealous of them and everybody this and everybody this. And I'm like, okay. Now, you remember, you're supposed to be in that egg. You're supposed to be at the center of the hurricane. Around you, a hurricane is going around you. The hurricane is going at 200 miles an hour. It's blowing and destroying everything. But in the eye of the hurricane, there is no wind. Where you are is calm and peaceful. We cannot control the hurricane that is called life on earth on a daily basis. That sucks big time. You wake up in the morning and there's problems, there are bill collectors, this and that, your car won't start, your boss giving you hell, this and that, you got those aches and pains, your kid is throwing up. Okay, that is the hurricane that is going around you. But you are the calm at the center of that storm. Because if you get caught up in those hurricane force winds, and if you're getting blown around at 200 miles an hour, how can you help anybody else if you can't help yourself? You have to be the calm. So you wake up. It happened to me just the other day. I woke up, I was going to get breakfast, and I jumped in my car, and I clicked it, and there was nothing. And I was like, what the hell? Okay. And I jumped my car, and I went down the street, and they said the battery's bad. Okay. $180 later, you get what I'm saying, don't you? Okay. Now, that is not the way you want to start your morning. But now, I could have been pouting and throwing things and effing and doing everything, but life already sucks. You just, okay, I had to do what I got to do. I got to get the car fixed. I did what I needed to do. Okay. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to let that destroy my day. Life will always keep throwing things at you, because it wants you to get out of the center of the hurricane. But you're not getting out of the center. You are staying there. And when there is a problem, you fix it and you go on. So that was the other day, my car. Okay. Today, okay. I got up. Everything's going well. It looks like it's going to be a decent day. I work from home. And my computer won't work. And I had to figure out what to do. And I was calling around this and that. I had to go to the company. And I because of all of this, I lost 30, 40 minutes of time on the clock. And it took them 2-3 hours to get my computer up and running. And then I finally got back home and I logged into my computer. And now that could have messed up my entire day. And I'm not doing the podcast today. My day is all screwed up. I'm here. For lunch, I even went to the park and went for a little walk. You can't let little stuff get to you, because they're going to throw those rocks at you. And if you keep bouncing off those rocks, sooner or later they'll say, quit throwing rocks at him. The rocks ain't even bothering him. We keep throwing rocks at him and he's just like a duck. They just roll off. Nothing bothers my day. As a lot of you found out, I was super sick a week or two ago. I was almost in the hospital. I was so sick. Did you know it when I was doing the podcast? One day I was so sick, I was in bed up until 10 minutes before the podcast. I got up, did the podcast. After the podcast, I went straight back to bed. If you look at the podcast, that's called what I call military. That's what I call going straight. Now, most people can't do that. Most people, if there's any problem in their life, their whole day is screwed up. Don't talk to me. I had a flat tire this morning. Don't talk to me. I got to take it. Okay. Their whole day is screwed up. They're yelling and screaming at everybody. Okay. You can't be that way. You have to learn. Not like me. My saying is life sucks and it's going to do something to screw it, it's going to do something every day to try to screw up my life, to try to screw up my day. So I'm mentally prepared that something is going to go wrong. And whatever that problem, if I wake up and I don't feel good, if I got this, or my car won't start, I'm mentally prepared. And I'm mentally prepared that I'm going to get around that problem and I'm going to go straight. And nothing's going to stop me from doing what I need to do. And I'm here every Tuesday, every Wednesday. If I'm not here, you need to call 911 because I'm probably face down somewhere. You understand? That's how strong and military I am. Okay. Most people cannot do that. Most people can't be there for their kids like that. Most people can't be there for themselves like that. That's how you have to be. Because we live in a very plush country. You know, we don't even have it hard like a lot of people in the country, in the world does. You know, we're over here bitching and complaining, and we get our $2,000 every month and this and that and everything else, and we're worried. You know, we have all these little tiny problems in America. Think about all these people in Honduras and Nicaragua and all these third world countries all over the world where they're just struggling to survive, just struggling just to put food on the table. And if you notice, which we talked about before, the more money a country makes, the higher the suicide rate. In America, around 40,000 people a year commit suicide. Why? Because their boyfriend broke up with them, or because of this or that, or because, you know, people kill, especially in Japan and Scandinavia. People, you know, they got an F on that test. You might as well just jump in front of the bullet train. You know what I'm saying? Life is over. Okay. You don't see people doing that in poor countries. Because they're too poor to commit suicide. They're too poor. They have too many kids depending on them to think about doing crazy stuff. They're just trying to survive just day to day. Just try to find enough food to eat. And our biggest problem is trying to fit into our clothes of last year because we gained another size. You get what I'm talking about? And we've been having that problem for several years. Okay. And we think we have it hard. We need to wake up and smell the coffee. Because what we're going to do when that day comes and the shit hit the fan. That's what happened to a lot of people with coronavirus. That's what happened to me. When I got my job shut down and I was out of work for an entire month. But at least I survived. I didn't lose anything. A lot of people lost a lot. You have to thank those people. You got to know who you can depend on this plane and up there. You got to know when you're having problems, who to pray to. You got to know who you can depend on. And when things get bad, as a lot of people, when they say, hey, they're kicking me out of my apartment, I'm having this, you got to know who you can depend on. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have no one to depend on. Because all of our friends are fair weather friends. They're only there for us when we're buying drinks and having parties and picnics and spending giant money. And when we need a favor, when we need this or that, there's crickets. You try to call them up, they won't even answer the phone. And we call those friends. We need some new friends. We need to do a life review. You need to take this time to see, because as I've been telling people, you think 2020 was bad. 2021 is not going to be a picnic. It might even be worse than 2020. In 2022 and 23, well, by 23, things should start getting a little bit better. But we got some very bad years ahead of us. Okay. We made it through 2020. That was that first torpedo. Can we take another hit or two? Can our relationship survive another hit or two? We need to prepare ourselves. Every day, something, no matter what happens, I will be here. You need to say that no matter what happens, I'm going to be there for my kids. No matter what happens, I'm going to be there for my husband. No matter what happens, I'm going to be there for me. And you got to be that hardcore. That is the power you can have. And when you're talking the way I'm talking, people say, boy, you don't want to mess with him. He might have this problem and that problem. He might live in that little tiny place. He might do this and that. But you don't want to mess with him. Because people want people that bend. And when people see you start bending in the wind, that's when they want to jump on top of you. That's what these scammers do. That's what pickpockets do. They look for people that show signs of weakness. And today, you can't be weak out there. Even if you gotta fake it. And sometimes I'm out there and I don't know what to do. But you gotta pretend like you know what you're doing. Because if you go to these automobile mechanics and say, my car won't start, I don't know what's wrong with it, can you please? They just see ka-ching. I can rip this person off for giant money. Okay, you gotta pretend like you know what you're doing. Even if you don't know. I hope I gave you some ideas. Because the power we have is inside of us. But they want to take our power away from us. This is why they say, if you have a problem, call the doctor. If you have a problem, call a lawyer. If you have a problem, call this person. Because they don't want you to depend on you. Because you're too dumb, you're too stupid. You can't depend on you. You need all these other people that you should be depending on. As long as you got this. But God gave you everything you need is in here. That is mind-blowing, what I just said right there. Mind-blowing. God gave you everything you need. And the other day, I was asking, why am I so sick? What is wrong with me? How come I'm having these problems? And that voice started talking to me. Really? I didn't know that was the problem. Really? I ended up going to the doctor. But when I went to the doctor, I already had an idea of what was wrong. You need to have that connection. You think about the things I say. And yes, this podcast will never have 2.3 million views because I'm not politically correct. I'm not saying this and that. I'm not saying, okay. I'm telling you the way it is. You have to be strong. Every day, the world is going to try to hit you in the back of the head with a 2x4, but you're going to stand there and you're going to go straight. And you're going to be proud of yourself. And you're going to stand tall. Okay. I'm Len David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm here every Tuesday and Wednesday for you. And I'm here to tell you the things that you need to hear. Okay. And I'm doing my 2 cents worth. I can't save the world, but maybe I can help you along the way. I hope to see you next week. There's some other great shows on the Spirit Realm Network. You stay tuned for them too. And I look to see everybody. Join my Facebook page, and I'll see you here next Wednesday. With that, I'm out of here. Thank you. Bye.